All right, so news came out today of this breaking story. Shams had it, saw it on Twitter, had to make a video for it because I think there's some people who might maybe overblow this. There's a couple of angles to this trade that are good. There's a couple of angles to this that are kind of negative, obviously. I'm going to try to cover all that in this video. So the trade itself is really straightforward and structured very simply. This is a player swap. This is a very straightforward trade in which the Chicago Bulls will send Lonzo Ball to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for um, Isaac Okoro. Now, the way this trade works is Lonzo Ball has been injury riddled for a large majority of his NBA seasons. I think he's 27 years old, so he's been in the league for like 8 years. I know time flies. This guy, I remember when this guy was a rookie drafted by the Lakers, and then obviously when LeBron got there, he was moved, and like he just there was no place for him to develop in LA. So when they moved him to Chicago, the opportunity was going to be there, right? And a lot of injuries. And then in a separate trade, Chicago acquired Josh Giddey, in which they sent Alex Caruso to the OKC Thunder and that sort of thing. And Josh Giddey has thrived very quickly, very early in his tenure in Chicago, rendering Lonzo Ball's services no longer required. And it's a positional thing. It's a player roster depth role kind of thing. I think what the Bulls are trying to do is return some kind of value, address a positional need, and that type of a player from Isaac Okoro, who in the same situation in Cleveland, Isaac Okoro actually was the starter for the Cavs in the beginning of last season, but due to injury lost his starting spot. Dean Wade, and Sam Merrill, some combination of that, started getting all of his minutes while he was out with a shoulder injury. He was never actually able to retain that position and that role. Even later in the year, as Dean Wade got injured, he came back and wasn't very good. Basically, it was Sam Merrill who took this position. And then the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter, kind of coming off the bench and those kind of things. The Cavs really didn't have a role for Isaac Okoro anymore. In fact, in my opinion, the Cavs still have a bit of a situation at the 3 position. They have guys, but they don't have the guy. And so the trade in and of itself makes sense for both these guys. There's a version of this where Isaac Okoro gets a little bit of run in Chicago. There's a version of this where Lonzo Ball has an opportunity to run the point as like a secondary point guard off the bench, a little bit of shooting guard possibly off the bench. There are players in Cleveland who are well liked and loved by their head coach, Kenny Atkinson. And I don't know what Lonzo Ball's role will be and what it becomes and how much he plays. But this was really about positional needs. And the most important thing that you guys hear from me, for those of you that are going to view this as a good acquisition for the Cavs, it is, but you have to make sure your expectations are realistic. This is a player who has been injury riddled recently. This is a player whose development was stunted, both by a move and subsequent injuries in which he hasn't played much. Lonzo Ball actually is a decent player. He has shown some pretty nice upside from time to time throughout his short career. And the reason why I say short, you'd say, okay, well, he's been in the league for like 8 years, but short, he hasn't played full seasons for all the seasons he's had in the league. There is zero risk in this for the Cavs. They're not losing anything by getting rid of Isaac Okoro. They have guys that do those things. Isaac Okoro was a defensive specialist for Cleveland who occasionally would knock down a 3-ball. But when he doesn't do that, he's almost useless because there's other guys on the bench who can also defend and not make threes. Right? So, it makes sense from a trade standpoint. I see what the teams are trying to address. But the most important thing is that the Cleveland Cavaliers properly address their roster to win in the playoffs. And Lonzo Ball, in all likelihood, is not going to be counted on to carry them through the playoffs. They still have to shore up their 3 position. I think they just actually offered a new contract to Sam Merrill, and he got paid. So they're going with Sam Merrill. That's what this is really all about. Which, in my opinion, he was useless in the playoffs. But they're paying him anyways. There's some combination of, like, what's his name? Ty Jerome, Lonzo Ball, these guys playing point guard off the bench, and getting in the guard rotations and those kind of things. And keeping the rest of the team together, right? Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, those kind of things. So keep the expectations low. Make sure you pump the brakes. Lonzo Ball may contribute to the Cavs as a rotational piece, may be involved in the team on a steady roll. Look for him to average somewhere between maybe 6 to 8 points a game off the bench, spelling, Darius Garland from time to time. Maybe getting in the rotation in a way, because he is a good defender. We know that for a fact. His offense, has been pretty inconsistent his whole career. He came in as a defensive specialist. His jump shot, trying to fix it, and all those kind of things. He's not the offensive player his brother obviously is, over in with the Hornets. But who knows? Maybe he finds and carves out a niche within the team's roles and roster, and maybe Kenny Atkinson knows how to use him to the advantage of the team. And that's really what this boils down to, right? Just helping and contributing to some positivity to this team. And they didn't really have to give up much to do it. You had too many players at the 3 position, and you don't really have the player. In my opinion, the Cavs need to develop Lonzo a little bit as a backup point guard, keep the main core together, and then you're trying to figure out, can I use DeAndre Hunter as my starting small forward? Because right now it looks like they're going with Sam Merrill. I think that's a big mistake, but they'd have to address that in my opinion. So, but anyways, that's what I have on the trade. That's what it means to me. That's what I see. Let me know what you guys think of the trade. Who wins in this trade? One team or both teams? Player-wise, I think you get a refresh for both of these guys in new places with opportunities. So to me, that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Like, share, check out some more videos. We'll see you guys soon on the next one.